one of the things that's always like really important when it comes to this idea of serving, especially in this room, very, very important, that you don't operate from the mentality that you need people. Like, I think it's scary when you're like, oh man, we need it. It's actually, it has to be flipped. Your job as a leader is to help convey to people how much they need it. Like God's gonna build his kingdom one way or another. In fact, if I quit today, God will find somebody else to fill my shoes. If you quit today, if you eject, if you get out, like guess what? The church will keep moving forward. You're not nearly as big as you think you are. It's an opportunity. It's a privilege to be a part of what he's doing. God will always find someone else. Our job is to help people understand that when you serve, serving is actually a pathway to greatness. Serving is a pathway to purpose. Serving is a pathway to being a part of the supernatural work that God is doing. And it's a hack to happiness. And I don't know about you, but today I'm sitting in here, I'm going, man, I'm glad that I showed up yesterday. I wouldn't have gotten to hear some of the stories that we're hearing today. We wouldn't get to hear about the miracles of what God's doing in someone's life. The story that Richie told today, that's gonna keep me going for the next 2 weeks, bro. How good is that? A dude who doesn't even follow Jesus is evangelizing better than some of us in the room. That's kind of convicting, bro. I'm like, what, he's bringing people, but you don't even believe this? What does he know that I don't know? And so it's beautiful what we get to be a part of, and you're playing a significant part. So let's keep doing it. Let's keep conveying to people that it's an honor, it's an opportunity to serve God's house. And when I do, I discover my purpose. Amen? Going to continue. This is our last part today, talking from this subject, a vision for here, a vision for here. And over again, we're reminding this room, I'm going to save some of this content for the team on Saturday, October 16th, but we're reminded from this verse, Matthew chapter 16, verse 24, Jesus says, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves, take up their cross, and follow me. So before Jesus calls you to lead, he calls you to follow. You don't really ever graduate from that truth. That has to be something that I think it's a good reminder every Monday. I'm called to follow. I'm a follower before I'm a leader. If I want to be a good leader, I need to be a good follower. Jesus calls me to follow him on his path. And his path, well, I think there's some really awesome moments in Jesus' life. I'm grateful that Jesus took time to show us that he goes to things like weddings, that he goes to things like parties, that he celebrates with people. I'm grateful that we see Jesus at a lot of meals, hanging out with folks. But Jesus also shows us that he walks through real suffering, real pain. Jesus walks through severe betrayal. And with it, we get to see what his response to not just the good times, but also the hard times. Because to be a follower of Jesus, to be a Christian, means that you're following the way. Isn't that interesting that before we ever got the title Christian, in fact, hundreds of years before that term Christian showed up, we were just known as people that were part of the way. And so like when you go back and you study like Roman history, they were persecuting people that were a part of the way. They didn't have like 5 services on a Sunday with like really, cookie cutter like programs and, TED Talks. They were groups of people that were huddling up in rooms like this, and they were talking about walking out the path of Jesus. We know the way. The way to what? The way to joy, the way to peace, the way to heaven. And they weren't called Christians, they were called the way. And so Jesus, he's saying, if you want to be a Christian, don't get lost in some title, just follow me. And I'm going to show you how to live. I'm going to show you how to think. I'm going to show you how to operate. I'm going to show you what it looks like to lead. I'm going to show you what it looks like to deal with good things, but I'm going to show you what it looks like to deal with bad things, hard things. I think we as leaders of the church, really we need to pay attention to Jesus when he's in his troubling moments, when he's in the dark times, because that's where I get a vision for how I am to respond. Life really it's not about what happens to you. Like 90% of what happens to you, that's not what life is. It's really all about how you respond to what happens to you. You know what I mean? It's 10% what happens to you, 90% about how you respond. I just think that's true. That's true. And so we're all after this idea of a vision for here. And if we're not careful, we'll get so fixated on there and where we're going that we'll miss out on the miracles. That's what yesterday was about. We'll miss out on the miracles. I'm passing through Jericho, but there's a guy named Zacchaeus who needs me now. And you're passing through the leadership program, but there's something that God has commissioned for you now. You're passing through the creative department, but right now, today, on this Monday, God wants to do miraculous work through your life. And you're passing through the production space, only doing 3 services in the city and full of rest, Julia, on Sunday nights. I've been giving Julia a hard time because that just hit me today. I'm like, wait, they get done like we were in like a deep discussion last night at 10 p.m. and the city's like, someone said Julia was like, I was in bed at 9 p.m. I'm like, dang, we were in extended worship. So I'm giving them a hard time now over in the city. No, I'm kidding. I love it. But we're just passing through, and as we're passing through, we need to witness and recognize that, man, there's miracles right here in the moment. Yeah. So the tagline that is my last week getting to say this to you, and I'm hoping that you're writing this down, taking this with you as we move into the fall, as we move into 2022, is simply this, is that when you surrender to the follow, you release your worry of the future. Great. And so why am I doubling down on this idea that you're a follower? Because I think there's a lot of anxiety in this room. I think there's a lot of worry in this room. I think there's a lot of, at times, disappointment and discontentment, even though you are considered to be leaders of God's house. And it's important, actually, what's going on inside of you, because you teach what you know, but you reproduce who you are. So if you are discontent, there's no way you're going to produce content people around you. If you walk around always disappointed and you always walk around with this perfectionism that you should be somewhere else and you should be further, guess what? You're going to reproduce that same type of spirit. And it's not people that are a part of the way. And the way that you release that worry and that anxiety is just going, God, I'm selling out again to the follow. I'm with you, Jesus. Great. And it's kind of an exciting time. Today I'm meeting again with our architect, and I'll spare you all the details, but we've been working on a project right here for South Miami that I'm like really excited about. But with it comes all these like logistical challenges of going, how do we expand this auditorium and where would we go if they're building here? And the last 2 weeks, I've really been like focused on this project. And that's part of being a leader, that you got to chart where you're headed and where you're going. And, you know, you want to continue to imagine a bigger world and a new world. And so I found myself like the last 2 weeks, even in the midst of teaching this, like my mind has been drifting towards this project and what the next, 5 to 10 years look like at VOUS. And it hit me last night. Some of us, we got done with the service and somehow we found ourselves in a very organic moment in my office. It was like Oliver, Adrian, Jean Costume, Omar Vasquez, who randomly showed back up here, which was awesome. I got done with the 7 p.m. He's like in shorts. He's like, how'd the last service go? I'm like, what are you doing here, bro? You serve in the A block. You're not allowed to come at the B block, And Dakota and Dee and we were just having a really beautiful conversation about God and God's presence. And we found ourselves probably like in an hour of conversation, like late to like 10:30 at night. I think we left. When we left here, like everyone was gone. And there was just a group of us that like had been there really all day, 5 services. And I'm kidding. I'm only coming at Julia too. I don't even give anyone else a hard time. But you know what? I was driving home last night and I was thinking to myself, wow, I've been in ministry now since 2007 full time. And if I'd really be honest, it's never been better than it is right now. Great. Like, I know we say this sometimes, but like, man, we're living the dream. Yes. I believe the future will be better. I believe the best is yet to come. But dude, this is awesome that there's a group of men that I get to go to 5 services with, yet somehow after it's all over, we still are lingering in an office talking about the things of God and encouraging each other and challenging each other and leaving with smiles on our face to say, let's keep celebrating. I know it won't always look like that. I've lived long enough now. I know it won't always be there, but I'm smart enough and wise enough to recognize I'm gonna miss this. Yes. And you're gonna miss this. You're going to miss the here, right now. And if you don't stop and reflect on that and recognize that life is always changing, it's going to change. It's what I want to talk about today. But right now, here in this moment, I've seen God do incredible things the last, whatever it is, 12, 13 years I've been in ministry. But I'm telling you what, this is special. This is a beautiful hour. I'm here for it, bro. Like, I don't want to miss this moment. Like, God is up to something and I am grateful and I want to reflect in it and I want to relish in it. I want to celebrate through it. And I want you to get the same revelation. And so the idea is following Jesus right here, right now, and having a vision for the moment that I'm in, a vision for Monday. And so we've been talking about how to do that. Here's the acronym: practice hospitality, Hospitality is this idea that you become the host. Traditionally speaking, you become a host in your home. And so as soon as you change this narrative of that you're passing through this moment, this is my home, I'm here, and you take on the mindset of a host, it puts roots down and it settles your spirit that I'm right here in my house hosting. The E is evangelize always. I thought about this. Maybe for a team conference, we'll challenge it to evangelize everywhere because I like the double alliteration. So can we change that in the notes? I think it's better. It's funny, after 5 times of teaching this now, I want to change the point. But evangelize everywhere that you go, that everywhere you go is an opportunity. Great. Going to talk about that a little bit this Sunday. The way that we do evangelize, we know that Jesus has a mission. His method was hospitality, eating and drinking. And so we turn tables into pulpits. We turn tables into services. We turn meals into moments to share the message of what Jesus has done in our life. Last week, the R is living a life above reproach. Yeah. That this is where the power and the potency of here comes right now, is that I'm not going to go one day, we're all becoming, we're all being perfected, but I need to take ownership right now of my character. I need to realize, even though I'm 18 and I'm at VOUS college, I got to quit lying to myself that somehow at 30 years of age, I'm going to get my addiction under control. Yeah. Great. No, you start today. You know what I mean? You need to quit lying to yourself. Oh, when I get married, then I'm going to settle that part down. No. You take ownership of who you are today. You get the healing you need right now. God's got you here, and you're meant to actually be full of purpose and be doing supernatural things, and your character matters. My mom used to always tell me, she used to say to me when I was younger, Rich, you need to know that throughout your life, people are going to be attracted to you. But you need to hear me right now and tell you as your mother that they're not attracted to you, son. They're attracted to the God on the inside of you. That's good. Wow. And from a young age, she reminded me that I am anointed, but if I want to jeopardize that anointing by living a foolish life, that's not on God, that's on me. Yeah. And where we make the mistake is that when God gives us a grace or a talent, we go, wow, look at me. Look at what I'm able to do. Wow, I'm pretty talented. I'm pretty gifted. Wow, people are drawn to me. People like listening to me. People want to be around me. No, friend. It's not you that they're attracted to. It's the God on the inside of you. It's the God on the inside of you. Live a life of character. Live a life above reproach. And lastly today, which kind of leans into what I was giving to you in the intro, is this last part, which is the last E, which is expect the unexpected. Great. Expect the unexpected. And I think it's a perfect way for us to close this little collection we've been doing in staff meeting, because you need to expect 2 things. Number 1, you need to expect things are going to be harder than you thought they were going to be. Yeah. I think every leader needs to do this, especially in seasons of holy momentum. This is what I was at staff retreat. Some of you can remember. I'm like, part of staff retreat is the sign up again, and part of the staff retreat is for you to go, this is not real life staff retreat. Yeah. This is really nice, I like it, but it's not real life. I got to leave the mountaintop and I got to go back down into the valley. Some of you missed youth camp, and I hate that for you. But it was the last sermon of every youth camp. You know what I mean? Every preacher said, guys, it's good, because everyone's like, I don't want to leave. This is amazing. I just want to stay with my friends. And it's really easy to be a Christian here at camp because everyone's saved now and everyone's, repented now, and we're all doing it together. And it's really, really good. And we've all spoken in tongues. We've all been filled with the Spirit, and our craziness is accepted here. And so let's just stay here. But every great youth speaker is like, all right, we got to go back down the mountain. We got to share what God has given us. And the truth is that life is not like a Sunday night service. And the truth is that life is not like staff meeting. Leadership is not like staff meeting. Like you don't walk into your cubicle with people with cowbells cheering at you, and you don't walk into your job. You don't walk into a Monday really with people behaving this way. That's why I love so much about this community and this culture, is because it's trying to so build us and remind us that we can celebrate anywhere. It's amazing how that's a whole leadership moment when we walk into this meeting, the way that VOUS College is handling and setting the tempo of what's taking place here on Mondays. But it's not real life. Like you don't come home, like, I don't know, maybe Zach could tell different, but I don't come home, my wife doesn't have cowbells going, you're home, like Daniela probably does that. She's an amazing wife, but I still haven't trained Dawntree yet in that, cut the tapes, I'm kidding, I'm totally kidding. She's pastoring me right now, but it's just not real life. Like And so I think what happens to us is that when we get caught up in God's presence and he gives us a vision, when he speaks to us, it's so meaningful. I want to be careful with my words. I was going to use the word magical, but I know there'd be people that would say it's not magical. It's real. It's not fake. It's real. So it's the wrong word. But what happens is I feel like there's so many people that have these moments in God's presence and they don't realize the journey that's in front of them. Right. And I think when I say this idea of expect the unexpected, you have to expect that it's going to be harder than you thought. In fact, you don't really want God to show you all that's in front of you. I wouldn't have done this. And I love what I do. Like if I would have oh man, that's what's awaiting me. I'm not going through that door. So part of us, we have to just have this spirit. I'm going to expect the unexpected. I'm going to expect the unexpected. Like no one could have expected 2020 to happen. There's no way. There's no way we could have expected that to take place. But it was the leaders who already had this idea that I'm called to right here, right now. And so no matter what comes my way, no matter how difficult it is, I'm not going anywhere. I might bend, but I'm not going to break. Here's what you need to get in your spirit. And this is something that I live by. Hard isn't bad. Good. Hard isn't bad. Who told you that? Who was missing in your life? Who was your leader that gave you a picture that anytime it got hard, they quit? Maybe it was your dad who dipped out way too soon. Maybe it was your mom who allowed you to quit everything that you failed at. Maybe it was the youth pastor who never pushed you outside of your comfort zone. Maybe it was the friend who didn't empower you, they just enabled you. Some of you should check your circle because you just hang out with people that enable you. Every time you complain, they just go, Every time you have a bad attitude, that is bad. I don't want friends like that. I want some friends that check me, going, bro, you sound so bitter. You sound so discontented. You sound so weak, Rich. Is that who you are? Because that's the words that are coming out of your mouth. Who told you hard is bad? What? Like you got to get hard isn't bad. Right before I went to staff retreat, my friend Dave Grutman called me, who I love very much. And he always will give me a call. Dave owns a club called Live and owns a whole bunch of restaurants and a very good friend of mine. But Dave called me every time he has to give a talk to his staff. He's like, Rich, give me some stuff, bro. Let's just, he's like, come on, hit me with some stuff. And so we'll always kind of work on his talk that he's going to share, which I think is fun. I get an opportunity to weave some VOUS culture into Live nightclub or to Swan restaurant or Poppy Steakhouse. They don't even know. Like, party with a purpose. They're like, well, we don't know, but they're learning that one. But he called me because they're big partners with Style Saves, and they were really disappointed because Style Saves wasn't able to do their big outreach day in person. They were going to do it online. And sort of the attitude was, well, how do I get people motivated if they're going to serve online? Like, why would they do that? And I said, well, Dave, just go in there and remind them that they're called to do the right thing. And the right thing is still to fulfill their commitment, and the right thing is to do the hard thing. And most of the time, the right thing is not the easy thing. Like, come on, bro. Like, who told? Think about all the right things you've ever done. Was it ever easy? Like, just even the natural, like, the right thing is to go to the gym. That's not easy. Shout out to Manushka Charles for getting in the gym after criticizing it for so many years. She's still changing and becoming. Jamila, who else is over there with that crew, right? It was like whatever you posted today looked fierce. I was like, someone needs to be over there. It was intense working out on a Monday. I was like, let's go. But like, that's not easy. They were in church. Jam's baptizing people and she still made a decision this morning to get up, to deny her flesh and to say, all right, I got a value here. Eating why is all the good food not taste good? And all the bad food, and all the people are like, oh, come on, bro, broccoli's, I can't stand you, like, kale, I love kale. No, you don't, it's an acquired taste, okay? Like, it's an acquired taste, just like coffee and just like beer, okay? It's an acquired taste, let's just be honest with it. You can learn to love it, but I don't know, like, why does pizza taste so good, It just seems that way. It's always like the bad thing's the easy thing and the good thing is the hard thing. Who told you hard was bad? I'm just trying to say it because like next Monday, we're not going to be in here together and you're going to come back to work and 2 weeks is going to pass and like even 3 weeks from this moment, it's going to be so hard to take your mindset or to take your body back to how you feel right now. Like if we even just try to do this with like the exercise of Sundays, like there's too many good Sundays. We only get, I think we do 51 a year because we take a Sabbath, like there's too many, like try to go back 8 weeks on a Sunday, like what God said to you, what God did in your life. Like sometimes I try to go back, I'm like, I can't even remember what I said, let alone what somebody else said or how the moment it made for me. And so if I'm relying on my commitment based upon what takes place week to week, I'm gonna be out of here quick. The only way I stay planted here and keep a vision is when I expect it's gonna get hard. Like I've already ruled that in. I've already ruled in there's gonna be challenges. Working on this project here, like building a new building here, it's like I've already ruled in, like, I don't even wanna know all the challenges that are coming because I won't even try. But I just gotta rule in it's gonna be harder than I thought. But just because it's harder than I thought doesn't mean it's gonna be better than I thought. Because I need you to expect the unexpected. Number one is that you need to expect it's gonna be hard. But number two, you need to expect that God's going to exceed your expectations.
Good.
And that's the spirit you gotta take on. In fact, I was challenged today. We were in a meeting about team conference, and what we know about team conference on the data is that throughout the years, there's 915 people signed up today, but we know that the show up person in rate thing is 60% of that. So really the number is 500 and something if we're gonna go with that data. And so I was like, the data this, and Luke Barry goes, he was very, very sweet and very, very pastoral. He's like, that's kind of a pessimistic outlook. And I was like, you're actually right. And he started to give reasons why he thinks it's gonna be higher this year. And really what he was doing was saying, I don't know the answer, but I'm gonna expect the unexpected. I'm gonna expect that God's gonna exceed what we're thinking right now. And here's my reasons and here's my logic, but why not take an optimistic outlook on this? If we're gonna be thinking, why not be thinking the right way and believe that God could do something more than what we've seen in the past? God can exceed your expectations. And so if it's hard today, and you want to quit because it's difficult, why not also take that same level of faith? Because some of us, we want to eject because of the basic moment of reality. And so our faith, it turns into the negative and it goes to a negative imagination of how much worse it's going to get. But it's taking faith to imagine it's going to get worse, it's going to get harder. Why not take that same faith and say, well, you know what? God's going to exceed my expectation. It could get a whole lot better. I kind of started saying like ministry's never been better than this moment right now. Doesn't mean that like I've got more problems than I've ever had. I've got more challenges than I've ever had. But I just look around, I'm going, this is pretty special, man. The people I get to do this with. And what I know as I say that is that it's not gonna always be this way. I'm banking that it's gonna get better, but it's also gonna be different. It's gonna be different. And so I seize the moment right now and I choose to use my imagination and my faith to say, God's gonna exceed it. He's gonna improve it. He's gonna grow it. Things are always changing. I think when you're in a hard season, I always tell people this phrase, this too shall pass. But if you use that phrase on the hard moments, you've got to also use that phrase on the good moments.
That's very good.
It's like, this too shall pass. Like, my son Wyatt today's 3 years of age and he has a cough, and so we had to take him to the doctor, and like he's cute, like with the cold. He's like, he coughs on you, And I'm like, if I'm not careful, I'll just think that Wyatt's gonna always stay 3 years of age, And that when he coughs, it's always gonna be cute. But it's not really cute when you're 17 and you're coughing. You know what I mean? Like he's not gonna always be that age. This beautiful moment that I love and cherish, I need to soak it up because it's going to pass. It's going to pass. And I just think for us in this room, what I'm looking for out of the leaders in this place is I'm looking for a bunch of people that would bring their heart, their mentality, their spirit together and say, God's gonna exceed our expectations. It's gonna be better. Let's take a risk. Let's step out. We're passing through Jericho, but there's a Zacchaeus around the corner that's gonna meet him, that life's gonna be forever changed. And I feel dry right now, or I feel stuck right now, or I feel challenged right now, but it's just a matter of time that God is going to bring the rain. There's this area called Death Valley. I think we've got a picture of Death Valley. Death Valley is one of the hottest places in the world. And Death Valley gets absolutely no rain. It's just in drought constantly. It's the hottest place in the world. And so nothing can grow in Death Valley. It's the desert. It's a dead place. But a phenomenon took place in 2016. Rain fell in Death Valley. And look what happened when the rain fell in Death Valley. It's called a super bloom. Check this out. Wow. You say, what happened? What happened is that ground was laced with seeds. that were dormant, that could not flourish or could not grow without rain. But as soon as the rain fell, those seeds that had always been there bloomed. And there is seed in your life. There is beautiful things that God has placed inside of you that if you will stay on the path and stay on the journey, it's just a matter of time that God's rain will fall. You're in the right environment. You got the right people around you. That which appears to be dormant, don't tell yourself it's dead. It's not dead. It's dormant. And it's going to bloom, and it's going to flourish, and it's going to grow. Expect the unexpected. Expect the unexpected. That's the people I want us to be. Let's expect the unexpected. God's going to do something great at Team Conference. God's going to help us finish this year strong. We're not just going to build one building. We're going to build multiple buildings. Our church is not even about building buildings. It's about building people. And the buildings are just going to facilitate us getting to build people's lives. Let's leave this place. Let's challenge people. Man, we don't need you to serve. You need to serve. You know why you're so unhappy? You know why you don't have any purpose? Because you only live for yourself. I got the keys, bro. I got the opportunity you've been looking for, bro. Come on, join the parking team. It's going to change your life. Oh, okay. I'm talking different now. I'm thinking different now. It's a vision for here. Practice hospitality. Evangelize everywhere. Live a life above reproach and expect the unexpected. Amen. Can we thank Jesus today?